lovelies. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for joining in again. My name is Abimbola and I'm the host on this channel, The Immigrant Nurse. So today guys, I'm going to be taking you through a step-by-step process of applying for a tier 2 visa. In case you are seeing this face and you are coming across this channel for the first time, this channel will discuss everything about nursing in the UK and every other country as it applies. But for now, the focus is on United Kingdom, and I've had a lot of nurses who has gotten a job trying to apply for visa and finding their steps in coming. But oftentimes you see people showing that they are confused, they don't know what to do when it comes to visa application, which is why I have made it a point of duty to actually film a video telling you step-by-step process of what to fill in your visa application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the questions that apply to visa application, and I'm going to tell you the answer to select. I actually want to film the process using my laptop, but I realized that it is not possible because they will request for your COS number. I already have my visa approved, so me trying to replicate that application will be fraudulent and it will backfire, and I don't want trouble. I have my visa application printout here, so I'll just use that as a format for you guys, and we'll go through it together. Okay, so if that's something you are interested in watching, then stay tuned. So I'll leave the link that will take you directly to the page of application in the description box, so you can check that. Okay, so once you click on that link, it's going to ask you some basic questions and you're going to fill it in. Once you fill it in, it's going to proceed to ask you for your COS number. So once it asks you for your COS number usually starts with letter C. Okay, so you go back to your COS, the one you have received from your employer, and you pick the number and you enter it into the space provided by the portal. So once you enter that, it's going to ask you for your email address. It's going to ask you for your name. So it will ask for your given name, that is your first name and your middle name. Then it will ask for your last name, which is also known as your family name or your surname. Please, whatever you do, please ensure that you write your name in full. So even if it asks for your given name, make sure you are writing both your first name and your middle name, since that is if you've started your application using your first name and your middle name. I hope that makes sense to you. So once you enter your name, it will take you to another column where it's going to ask you if you've had any name in the past that is applicable for those who are married or those who have done change of name for one reason or the other. So it's going to ask you for that, and if that is the case, you have to enter your previous surname or your previous name as it is applicable to you. Then it's going to ask if the email address belongs to you, which is yes, of course. And it will request if you have another email address. If you want to use an alternative email address, you may enter a second email address, but if not, just say no and move on. So the next question is going to be your gender as shown in your passport or your travel document. So obviously I am female, so you feel that. If you are male, you feel that. Then it's going to ask for your relationship status. So once you get to that point, whether you are single or you are married or you are single mom or you are divorced, or whichever applies to you, fill it at that point. Okay, it will ask for your country of birth. Your country of nationality is like a place, like the country's passport you possess. So for example, if you live in Nigeria but you were born in United States of America, so your country of nationality could either be Nigeria or US, but your country of birth will definitely be US. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Okay, Then it will ask for your place of birth. So this is more specific now. Where in the country were you born? Were you born in Ibadan? Or you were born in Maryland? Or you were born in Washington DC? So it will ask you that question. Then moving on, it's going to ask you your date of birth. So you fill that in. Then it will ask if you have a valid national identity card. So if you're in Nigeria and you have NIN, National Insurance number, you can use your Nigerian NIN. I used my Nigerian NIN. So when it asked me, do I have a valid national ID card, I said yes. So it now asked for the national identity card number, and I used my NIN number. And it will now ask you for the issuing authority. Then you fill it in. If it is Nigeria, you fill it in. Whatever applies to you, whichever country has that national identity card number, you fill it in, depending on where you live and where you have gotten the national ID card from. Okay, then it will ask for the issue date. My NIN was issued as far back as 2014. I had it that very first time this NIN thing was out, and I filled it in that it was issued 24th October 2014. Now, if you have a recent one, you can use it. If you have an old one, you can still use it, because these things are in the database, so they will always find their way of tracing and tracking it. Okay, just make sure that whatever you do, you are not putting in a lie. So the next question is going to ask you, do you currently hold or have you ever held any other nationality or citizenship? So for those who have dual citizenship, I would counsel that initially you should fill the citizenship of the country where you live in. So when you now get to this point, to this question, asking if you have currently held or own any other nationality or citizenship, then you fill in the second citizenship of the country you own. So let's say that you have the citizenship of both Nigeria and USA. So the first one, you have to fill in Nigeria if you are living in Nigeria. Then at this point, the second one, you have to fill in United States. Okay, then it will ask you for your current address. So you fill in the address of where you are living at the moment, because most times that's the address where they will deliver the passport, the stamped passport. So just fill in your current address, and it's going to ask you, is this also your correspondence address? You can say yes. If you have an alternative address where you want stuff to be delivered to, where you want your stamped passport to be, delivered to, then you also fill yes. You fill it in. Okay, then it's going to ask, how long have you lived at this address? So you indicate how long you've lived in the address, whether for 1 month or for 2 months or for a year or for 2 years or for 3 years. You indicate as is appropriate. Then it's going to ask you, what's the ownership status of your home? So you have to state whether it is a rental apartment or it is your personal apartment, the one you have bought in your name. So then it will ask you for your phone number. You fill in as appropriate. You use your country code and then fill in the phone number. So it will ask you, where do you use this phone number? So for me, I was not in the UK when I was filling my form, so I said for use while outside of the UK. So that means that this phone number is applicable for me, which is actually my Nigerian phone number. It is applicable for me while I am outside of the UK. So it will ask you to select whether it is your home, your mobile, or your work telephone number. You enter it that it is your mobile telephone number. Then, are you available to be contacted by telephone? Then you select whatever you want, whether you want them to contact you by call only or by text only, just in case something comes up and they need to talk to you concerning your application. So I filled in, contact me by telephone, call, and text message. So because my previous address was not up to 2 years, was not up to 5 years, I was asked to fill in another address. So I filled in a second address, which was a previous address of where I had been living before I moved into the address where I am currently living at, or where I was currently living at back then in Nigeria. So you fill that in as well. If you have a permanent address, like you are staying in an environment where you have your parents and they have permanent home address, you might as well just fill that, okay? Since it is within the same environment where you live, you might feel that. But if it's far from where you live, like if it is in another town or another state or another country, then you have to fill in the address of where you are living and not your parents' address. So moving on, so it's going to ask you for your passport details. So your passport number, your issuing authority, your date, the issue date, and the expiry date. And I'm going to fill in all of that as it is applicable to you. Now we are moving on to the juicy part. So the next thing it's going to ask you for is your spouse or partner details. This is because I had indicated that I was married previously, so it will ask you for the details of your spouse or your partner, and you will fill it in as appropriate. Then your parent details. Honestly, I don't understand the reason why my parent details were requested for, but I am somebody's child now. So you fill the name of your mother and indicate their relationship with you, their date of birth, the country of nationality. If they have the same nationality with you, you indicate it. Same thing as the details of your father. So don't feel weird if you are asked, or if you get to that point and you realize that you will be asked for the details of both of your parents. Okay, so now it's going to ask you for employment, and there are some jobs that is going to bring and ask you if you have worked in any of the jobs listed above. As it is applicable to you, if you have not worked in any of those jobs, just tick I have not worked in any of the jobs listed above and move on. Then it will ask you, do you know where you will be living in the UK? Now this is the point where people get confused, because people wonder, which address should I fill, or what should I fill? Immediately you get your COS, your COS is your certificate of sponsorship. If you're a nurse, you already know this. So in your COS, you know that it should be indicated where the hospital accommodation will be. So when they ask you, do you know where you'll be staying in the UK? Your answer should be yes. That is if you know the address of the hospital accommodation, which by right it should come with your COS. So you feel yes, and once you feel yes, you will be asked to enter the address. So the first thing it's going to bring is the postcode. So the postcode, for those of you, for some of us who are trained to something like that, postcode in this part of the world is how to locate where you live. So it starts with 2 letters and 2 numbers, then you have a number and 2 letters. So for example, your postcode could be ZB34Y59. That is an example of what a postcode can look like. So you go back to your COS, you check for the address of the hospital, or if you have gotten a mail talking about the accommodation that the hospital has provided, you enter the postcode. So once you enter the postcode, it's going to ask you, do you want to enter the address manually, or you want to automatically generate the address? So it's going to, if depending on what you choose, if you choose automatically generate address, it's going to bring the address, and you have to look for the one that is specific to that which your hospital has provided. If you can't find it, it's just best for you to enter the address manually. Okay, so once you do that, it will take you to the next question, asking you, will you be staying anywhere else in the UK? Of course not. Not immediately you get into the UK. You are going to be staying in the hospital accommodation. Okay, so just leave it as no. Then this is now the very, very interesting part, where it will ask you for your travel history. So it will ask you, have you been issued with a UK visa in the past 10 years? So you have to go back, take your time, Think about this question very well before you answer. So if you have been issued a visa into the UK in the past 10 years, you feel yes. If you haven't, you feel no. Have you been to the UK in the past 10 years? In case you have come into the UK in the past 10 years, maybe for visiting or for education or for something, whatever it is, make sure that you put in the right information. So if you've been into the UK in the past 10 years, you feel yes, and for what purpose, you answer the question as appropriate. If you haven't ever been into the UK in the past 10 years, you feel no. So have you ever entered into the UK legally? If it is applicable to you, you feel yes. If it is not, you feel no. Then it will ask you, have you remained in the UK beyond your validity of your visa? Have you breached the conditions of your leave? For example, you work without permission or receive public funds, give false information, or breach the UK immigration law, whatever it is. I'm going to counsel that you speak the truth. You confess your sins. Okay? Then if all of that is no, you feel, if it is not applicable to you, you feel no. Then for either the UK or any other country, have you ever been refused the visa, refused entry at the border, refused permission to stay or remain, refused asylum? Have you been deported? Have you been removed? Have you been required to leave? Have you been excluded or banned from entry? So it's going to ask you all of these questions for any other country or the UK. This was where I made my own mistake, and I filmed a video about how I almost got rejected for visa into the UK. If you have not seen that video, I'm going to link it somewhere. So make sure you check the description box or at the end of this video and watch it. So when it asks you if you have ever been refused a visa, refused entry or anything, I have applied to the United States of America 2 times or 3 times, and I have been refused visa each and every time I have applied. Now, it doesn't matter whether you are not applying to the US. It has asked you if you have been refused visa into any other country. So whether it's US, whether it's Canada, whether it's Australia, whether it's Germany, whatever country it is, whichever country it may be, make sure you indicate the truth. Tell them if you have been refused visa or if you have been disqualified from coming into the country. Put yes. So for example, me, I have been refused visa by the United States before, and I had to put yes at a very costly rate. You should watch that video to understand. So I had to put yes. So it will now ask you to give details of what happened. So I told the details that I entered was an application for a visa was refused. That was my own situation. That was what was peculiar to me. Then it will ask you what country you fill it in. I filled it United States of America. When did the immigration problem happen? Mine was in June 2017, and it asked me give more details of what happened. So it was, and I wrote it there. It was meant to be a visiting visa that will afford me the opportunity to attend my brother's wedding in July 2017, as well as shop for my own wedding, which was to come up later in November 2017, but it didn't come true, and no particular reason was stated for the visa refusal. Simple. It's that simple. So then it's now, after that first occurrence, it happened again, and I was asked to fill it in again. So it says give details of what happened. Still the same thing. An application for visa was refused. Into which country? United States of America. When did this happen? October 2015. Give more details about what happened. Non-eligibility for visiting, in brackets, pleasure/tourism visa to my brother. Simple, and that was it. Okay? But if you have never been to embassy before in your life, or you have never had any cause to apply for visa, just feeling no when it asks you if you have ever been denied or refused visa by any other country, just feeling no. You don't need all the stories. Okay, the story is for those of us who have been refused visa before. Okay, so it will ask you, do you have any other travel history? If you don't have any other, just tick 0. If you have other travel history, you state it there. Okay, so next question is going to be, how many times have you visited the following places in the past 10 years? Australia, Canada, New Zealand, US, Switzerland, European Economic Area. It will list all the European countries. If you have never been to any of these countries, you indicate no. If you have been there, you specifically state how many times you have been to any of these countries. So have you ever been to any other country in the past 10 years? If yes, you fill it in. If you have gone to Dubai, you tell them, yes, I've been to Dubai. If you have not been to any other country, you tell them, no, I haven't been to any other country. So, other history. In either peace or wartime, have you ever been involved in or suspected of involvement in war crimes, genocide? Like if you've ever had any bad records during wartime, like you've gone for World War II, or you've fought a war for your country before, and you decide that you are coming to become a nurse, or you were a military nurse and you had to go to the war front, and you are now at the point of migrating into the UK. So if you've been in any situation like that, you state it as it is applicable to you. But for those of us who have never been to war front before, it is no. Have you ever been involved or supported in any terrorist activity? No. Have you ever been a member of organization that has been concerned with terrorism? No. I don't expect any of you watching me right now to be. Have you by any means expressed views that justify or glorify terrorists? No now. No. Have you ever been a member of organization that is concerned with extremism? No. Have you by any means or medium expressed any extremist view? No. Now let's move on. Have you, as a part of your employment or otherwise, undertaking paid or unpaid activity on behalf of a non-UK government which you know to be dangerous? So this particular question is for those who have gotten involved in some dangerous activity that could threaten the security of the United Kingdom. So if you have been involved in any activity like that, you state it. If not, your answer is no. So have you engaged in other activities that might indicate you may not be considered to be a person of good character? Of course, no. Is there any information about your character or behavior that you would like us to make aware of? No. So now, conviction and other penalties. At any time, have you ever had any of the following? A criminal conviction, a penalty for a driving offense, e.g. disqualification for speeding or no motor insurance, an arrest or charge for which you are currently on or awaiting trial, a caution, warning, reprimand, or other penalty. So this one, I think I would say that you should be sincere at this point. So maybe you've had any issue with driving, they've given you tickets for speeding too much, or you don't have motor insurance at some point, or you've had issues to be in prison for some while. The answer to all these questions should be sincere. But if this has never applied to you in any way, then you tell them it is no. So now for your sponsor, that's the next section. So as your sponsor or your employer confirm that you are eligible for health and care visa, the fact that your employer has sent you a certificate of sponsorship is enough evidence to show that you are eligible for health and care visa. Okay, so your answer will be yes. What is your sponsor license number as shown on your certificate of sponsorship? So you have to go back to your certificate of sponsorship and you now fill in your sponsor license number. You should normally, from my experience of what certificate of sponsorship looks like, that license number should be part of the first page of your certificate of sponsorship. So you fill it in and you fill in the name of your hospital just in front. So it will ask you, do you have a certificate of sponsorship reference number? Your answer should be yes. If you have gotten a COS, you should have a reference number, and your reference number is going to start with a C. So that one is the one you will enter. So what type of job are you coming to the UK to do? So it depends on what job you are coming into the UK to do now. So it could either be as a staff nurse, or as a pharmacist, or as a medical doctor, or as whatever it is, you specify and write it there. So how much will you be paid in Great Britain pound per year to do your job? So on your certificate of sponsorship, there should be the total amount of salary you will be earning in the year. That's your annual income. So you are going to write that in front of the space provided. So the next question is, have you revised the guidance on professions that require overseas criminal record check? Of course, yes, because you must have read through it. You must have obtained your police certificate clearance. So your answer will be yes. Is your employment in a profession that requires overseas criminal record check? Every health profession, every health related profession requires overseas criminal record check. So your answer will be a yes for that. The country you have been present in for 12 months or more. So if you have been in Nigeria and other countries for 12 months or more, you have to indicate and write it. But if you have been in other countries, you have to list every countries you have been in the last 12 months. Then, can you provide a criminal record certificate for this country? Yes. So if you're in Nigeria, you know that you would have done your police clearance certificate. Have you been present in any other country for 12 months or more in the last 10 years? So let's say that you've been in Nigeria for the past 2 years, but in the last 5 years, you've also been to 2 other countries. You have to indicate at this point. So you will indicate a yes. So once you indicate a yes, it's going to ask you for a police clearance certificate for all the countries you have been to in the last 10 years. So that means that before you start your NMC processing, you must have prepared your police certificate clearance for all these countries that you have been to. Okay. Then it's going to ask you, are you applying as a midwife or a nurse? So of course you tick yes. Can you confirm you have provided evidence to show you've done one of the below? So the evidence for me as a nurse is that I have passed my NMC computer-based test of competence. Okay. Then is your job with your hospital, the name of my hospital is listed here on the shortage occupation list? Yes. So you have to understand that there are some jobs that are not on the shortage occupation list. So if it is not there, if your job is not there, you say no. But I know that nursings are on the shortage occupation list, so the answer will be yes. What is the length of certificate of sponsorship? 3 years or less. I've not seen a certificate of sponsorship that is more than 3 years. I know some are 2 years. Yeah. But the highest I've seen is like 3 years. So depending on what is applicable to you, you have to fill it in. So you cannot pick 3 years or more. So it's either 3 years or less. Has your sponsor agreed to satisfy maintenance? So has your sponsor agreed to certify maintenance on your certificate of sponsorship? Yes. So maintenance is just the part of your COS that indicates you can bring in dependents into the UK. So that part is the part that indicates you can bring your spouse, your children into the UK to come and live with you. Okay. So if it is ticked on your COS, you answer yes. But if it is not ticked on your COS, you answer no. So that means that sometimes later you may need a maintenance letter by your employer to be able to bring in your dependents and your spouse into the UK. So the next section is going to be your English language. So it's going to ask you if you are applying as a doctor, a dentist, a nurse, a midwife, Have you passed an English language assessment accepted by the relevant regulated professional body as a requirement for registration? Your answer should be yes. The next question is the tricky part, where it's going to ask you, do you have any degree equivalent to a UK bachelor's degree which was taught in English? Your answer should be no. Have you provided evidence of your English language during your previous application? You must have provided evidence that you either scored level B1, B2, C1, all of those things. Your answer should be no. Okay, because if you don't tick no as your answer, you won't get the space to fill in your IELTS results. Okay, so we may have to ask you about your application. Which language do you prefer to use? Of course, that's to be English language. Then it will now proceed to ask you, have you passed the approved English language test in the last 2 years? Your answer should be yes, for those who have passed their IELTS exams. Okay, so it will ask you, what's the name of the awarding body? So it's going to be IELTS or OET. So you enter whichever one is applicable to you. The one you have used, you enter that. Then it will ask you your reference number. So for IELTS, your reference number is your test report form number. So it's the long number that is on your IELTS results. Is towards the what's the name? It's towards the lower right hand corner. That's where your TRF number is. Okay, so your education is going to ask you, do you have a PhD? If you have, you say yes. If you don't, it is no. So it will redirect you to the point where you are going to pay. So you will pay for the visa application, but before you pay for the visa application, it will ask you, where do you plan to collect your BRP? Your BRP is your biometric residence permit. So it's going to ask you your preferred choice of collection. That's the area where you want to collect your BRP. So depending on the agreement your hospital has had with you, it should be indicated on your COS where your BRP will be collected, which is most likely the post office. So it depends on which of the post offices you will be going to. So you have to write the address of the post office and the postcode of the post office that your hospital has provided on your COS. That's what you will be writing on the BRP collection location. So then you are going to pay. So once you pay, it will automatically redirect you to the TLS page. So the TLS page is like the page where you will be making appointments, where you'll be booking appointments for your biometric for the United Kingdom visa application. So there are 3 offices for biometrics in Nigeria. There's an office in Abuja. There are 2 offices in Lagos, one in Ikeja and the other one is in Victoria Island. So whichever is most convenient and closest to you should be your choice. So when you get to the TLS office, into the TLS portal, you'll be asked to upload your results. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of how you will be uploading your results, because you have to upload it under different categories. Did I say results? Upload your documents. So you have to upload your documents under different categories. Under the sponsor, you are going to upload your COS. Under the employment, you will upload your offer letter and your NMC decision letter. Then under studies, you will upload your IELTS and your CBT results. Then under others, you will upload your tuberculosis test results, your police clearance certificate, your international passport, and your checklist. Okay, but most times it's not necessary to upload your checklist, so you can just forget about that. When you are going for your TLS appointment, that is when you can actually take your checklist along, because it will be used to cross-check the list of documents you have uploaded on the portal. Okay, so and once you have uploaded these documents on their portal and you are sure that everything is complete, you can then go ahead to book your appointment. So you book the most convenient date for you. If you are meant to arrive in the UK 14th of January, when you're filling your visa application form, it will actually be requested to know when you plan to arrive in the UK. So let's say you are supposed to arrive in the UK 14th of January. It's best for you to book your to indicate that you'll be arriving, or you would like to arrive in the UK on the 10th of January. So give or take, in case anything comes up, you should be able to get your visa on before your departure date. Okay, so that's one thing you should just have in mind. So whatever you do, immediately you get your COS, whatever you do, make sure that you start your visa application process immediately, because sometimes to get a date for visa for biometrics appointments can be a lot to deal with. It can be a lot to deal with. So don't forget to put that in mind. So once you apply, give or take within 15 working days, your visa should be out, which is the reason why you need to also apply for the visa early enough. Okay, and don't put your exact date of departure on the column where they ask you when do you plan to arrive in the UK. You should enter some days before. So like I said, if your departure date is 14th of January, you can fill in 10th of January on your visa application form as your proposed date of arrival in the UK. Just in case anything comes up, your visa should be out on before that time, and you'll be able to meet up with your departure date to avoid stories that touch. Okay, so yeah, that's everything. I hope this video is helpful for somebody. I'll be listing a video, or I'll be filming a video about how to apply for spouse and dependent. If you are interested in that, let me know in the comment section. I hope this really helps somebody, this visa application process. I hope it really helps somebody, and I hope that it was clear enough. I hope I did not get you more confused. I honestly do hope so. So let me know if you have any further questions. Let me know in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, like, share, and drop your comments. Drop it, okay? I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, stay safe and stay blessed. Bye.